Hey friends, Junior Staggs with Auctioneer University, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be one of the sponsors of a brand new show that's going to be produced by my friends at Brewer Street Mafia and Kel Media. It's called SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew. It'll be recorded live every Sunday night at 7:30. So if you're into sports, I like Alabama football. Maybe you're a Tennessee fan. Maybe you're into one of those foreign sports like soccer or cricket or rugby. I'm sure he'll cover it all, from local sports to professional sports and everything in between, every Sunday night, 7:30. While you're at it, go over there and give him a like. And if you're thinking about becoming an auctioneer, check out our website, Auctioneer U. That's auctioneer, the letter U.com.
In a world that moves way too fast, there's one place that feels like home. Tater's Place in Paris, Tennessee, where the sizzle of a smash burger meets the sound of laughter, and every plate tells a story. Bring the family, make memories, and taste the love in every bite. Live music, real people, and unforgettable food. That's Tater's Place, 3615 Highway 79 North. Find the flavor you've been missing at Tater's Place. Come and feel what you've been hungry for.
Are you looking for a fence that gives you peace of mind? At All Star Fence Company, we don't just build fences, we build confidence. Whether it's keeping your family safe, protecting your property, or simply adding curb appeal, All Star delivers unmatched quality, dependable service, and lasting results. Locally owned and trusted across West Tennessee, Kentucky, and beyond, we're the name homeowners count on for reliability and strength since 1971. All-Star Fence Company, your first line of defense and your best choice for peace of mind. Visit allstarfenceandsupply.com today.
Hey, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of SportsCast. I'm your host, Jeremy Buckelew, here with you, as always, on Sunday night, live from the Brewer Street Mafia studios, and got another great show here lined up for you tonight. I do want to say thank you to our sponsors who make it possible for us to bring you SportsCast every week. Thanks to Junior Staggs and AuctioneerU.com for their sponsorship, and I say it every week, and I mean it, that if you ever wanted to learn how to be an auctioneer, that Junior Staggs is the best one in the business to learn from. And so you can go to auctioneeru.com and get signed up for one of his classes. He'll help you get licensed and everything to make it in the auction world, if that's what you want to do. Also want to say thank you to Tater's out on the Lake Highway, one of our favorite places to go grab something to eat. I'm particular to the fried pickles they got and the smash burger, but they got a menu full of stuff that I'm sure that you'll enjoy. And not only do they have the restaurant, but of course Tater has the bike shop out there, and so if you've got a motorcycle that needs some work, then you can take it out there, and while you're waiting on them to fix your bike or whatever, you can grab something to eat and just hang out and enjoy the company out there at Tater's on the Lake Highway. Thanks to them, and then also to All Star Fence for coming on and being a sponsor with us. I've known Jeff Archie a long time, and if you ever need any fence work, he's the guy to call to get it done, and I appreciate them. Also want to say thanks to Patriot Plumbing and Shelter Insurance for coming along as well and helping out with the show. Again, got a great show tonight. I do have a special guest that I want to introduce first. This young man had a birthday this week and just turned 7 years old, and I got a text that said one thing that he was asking is, when is he going to get to be on the podcast? And I said, well, bring him on this week. And so, Grayson, I hope you had a happy birthday, and welcome to SportsCast. Did you have a good birthday?
Yes.
It's a big deal turning 7. It may not seem like it at first, but 7's an important year, right?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
First grade.
All right. And where do you go to school?
Ray Elementary.
And who? Tell the folks who your dad is.
Josh Wolf.
Josh Wolf, head football coach of Henry County High School, right? And newly inducted member in, I believe, the West Carroll Hall of Fame. Is that correct? Carroll County, all the Carroll County Hall of Fame. I saw a picture of you on Facebook with him where you were getting to hold that plaque that they gave him for being inducted in the Hall of Fame. Was that a fun night?
Yes.
So what's your favorite sports to play?
Basketball.
What else?
Football and baseball.
And basketball is your favorite, though?
Yes.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Kobe.
Good answer. I'll take it all day, every day. Well, like I said, you can tell folks now that you were on the podcast and that you helped me open the show, and that if they want to come and do it, then just reach out to me. But you'll always be the first. Your dad was the first guest I had, and now you're the first, like birthday boy, special co-host that I had come on the podcast. Isn't that exciting? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it, and I hope you have a great summer. School's almost out, so you're about ready to enjoy your summer and play all the basketball in the yard and baseball and all that stuff you can, right? All right.
Yep.
Gracie, good to see you, man. Come by anytime, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all. Got a great show tonight. Got two guys here with me that are going to talk about something that I used to love and still do love. I just don't get to do it as much. But we've got Coach Greg Lassiter from the Inman Middle School golf team and Coach Brian Welp from the Henry County High School golf team with us tonight. Gentlemen, good evening. Glad you could make it. Which one of you? So I'm playing in a scramble here in about, I don't know, sometime mid-June. And I hadn't swung a golf club in about 2 years. Which of you guys wants to take on the responsibility of trying to get my golf swing back in shape?
Greg is the wizard.
So, Greg, when are we going to go play, my man?
You just say when.
No, in all seriousness, I dabble at golf. That's about it, but not anything like you two guys who work it every day. And glad you could be on tonight because, Coach Welp, I know that with the high school, they play in the fall, right? Their season is in the fall.
Correct.
But golf's one of those things that if you don't work on it year-round, you'll lose it.
That is correct. Kids learn that the hard way, that if you don't practice, it's hard to get better.
Yeah.
Right. Whenever my daughter was getting kind of out of softball, she was like, I really like golf. And she had an adjustment real quick whenever she realized how much work she was going to have to put in to get to the level she wanted to get to. But it's been good for her, and, yeah, it's a year-round thing.
Good. I'm going to kind of put y'all on the spot because I think everybody else I kind of gave a heads up to, and I apologize. I've had a crazy week, and so I don't know if I gave y'all the heads up. But usually we try to start each show with the best thing you've seen this week. And so what would you say is the best thing you've seen? I'll give you some time to think about it. I'll go first. I got a couple of things. Number one would be I enjoyed getting to see Southeast Louisiana, the Lady Lions play in LSU the other night and actually beat LSU in game one, came back and lost to Nebraska game two, but then eliminated LSU from the NCAA softball tournament on their field. It's always fun and exciting when you can see kids from Henry County on your TV. And, of course, Celia is a part of that team, and I think they lost tonight, unfortunately, and so their season's over. But to get to watch them on, the big TV and on ESPN playing that squad, that was fun. Went to Nashville last night to watch a soccer game in Nashville, the Nashville Soccer Club, and it's just amazing to see professionals and how honed they are on their sport. And I love Case. We talked about it. Case plays soccer, and I enjoy watching him play. But seeing what those guys can do with that ball is just amazing when you get to go see it live. And so for me, that's going to be the best thing I saw this week was Nashville soccer last night.
I'm going to go with I watched Truett Webb and Charlie Davis, who I both had the honor and pleasure of coaching at Inman Middle School when they played baseball. And Truett is also a Southeast Louisiana, and I think he threw 4 1/3 innings the other night and only gave up 1 hit.
Yeah.
Had a couple strikeouts, and I don't think there was any walks, but it helped. He got the win because they came back and won in the bottom of the ninth. And then Charlie's had an amazing year at Belmont,
Right.
playing second base. Moved up to leadoff the last few games, but I watched both of them get to compete in their conference tournament, and that was pretty fun.
Those are two guys that I hope that at some point here soon, I don't know what their summer schedules look like, but if at some point this summer I can get them in here, I hope that they can have the time to come in and sit down and have a conversation about where their careers have gone so far and all that. So Coach Welp, best thing you saw this week?
Mine is not sports related.
That's fine. It doesn't have to be.
Okay, good. It was the graduation walk.
Okay.
Of those seniors walking through our schools and seeing, it was just yesterday whenever they're freshmen and sophomores, and getting to see them wear them cap and gowns and see how much they grow, not just as, not just as student athletes, but just well-rounded kids.
Sure.
And we got a really good group of kids this year at senior class, and I'm proud of so many of them, and it's really cool to see them.
I'll second that. They came to our school. I thought we were going sports, but it's nice seeing they come through. They're all as tall or taller. I still see them when they're this size. When I had them, they're all 18 now, and I keep seeing them as 8-year-olds, and
Sure.
they're not. So that was pretty cool.
Whitney said the same thing, that she always enjoys it when they do the senior walk, and that you have these kids, and she's fortunate that a lot of times she has kids more than just 1 year. Like in y'all's roles, I think y'all just have them 1 year, right? And so as far as the teaching side of it goes, and so she was saying that this year, like she had kind of graduated last year and had friends and all that, but this year she had more kids come up and give her a hug and all that, and was just talking about the group of kids that came through on the senior walk. And so it happens quickly. I know y'all got young ones, but it's amazing how quickly they go, as you said, from being this tall to you're seeing them walk down the hallway in that cap and gown. And congratulations to the graduating class. They'll graduate Friday night, and so hats off to them. But it doesn't take long for that time to go by.
What's the saying? I think the days are short and the years are long.
That's
no,
right.
Or is it the opposite?
The
days are long and the years are short.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that backwards.
And and you see it a lot, but especially when you're a parent, it goes by so much faster than what you thought it was going to. And we got one that lives away full time now. We don't ever see him anymore, hardly. Fixing to start law school down in Mississippi, and then of course Ken at Arkansas. She's home for the summer, thankfully. But we saw her at spring break, and that was about it. And so we're supposed to be talking about golf, but here we go. Anyway, it's all right. I saw something the other day that said that you'll when you look at it, you spend 18 years with them as kids, and then the majority of their life and your life too is spent with them as adults, and so to really enjoy them as kids, and that hits home.
Yeah.
So, go talk about golf. As I said, Greg, we'll start with you since you're at the Inman program. I think a lot of folks know you, but just kind of introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do, and go from there.
Yeah, my name is Greg Lassiter. I grew up in Hazel, Kentucky, and went to high school in Callaway. And I played all sports when I was little. High school, I stuck with football and baseball. Played a little baseball after high school, and then was working on my education degree and picked up golf because I had this. You still have this need to want to compete, so to speak, but golf was like relaxing, but it's frustrating because you can't, perfect it. But it was relaxing to do something, different and outdoors, and I got hooked on it. I've been playing about 32 years. I've been teaching for 27 years. So, in the Paris Special School District, I've been teaching third grade now for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But seeing a lot of amazing kids come through and move on in life, and have a great class this year. We have 5 days left. I get to enjoy spending 5 more days with them. I'm married to Alicia Lassiter, who teaches second grade at Ray, and I have a son, Noah Lassiter, and then I have a stepdaughter, Olivia Jones.
Okay.
And so that is a full-time job, which I love.
Right. They keep you busy, that's for sure. I know that. But and so we were talking we'll get into this a little bit more, but the Inman golf program is brand new.
Brand spanking new. And I have to give a lot of the credit to Coach Welp here, because 3 years, we've talked about all the kids that are interested in golf.
Sure.
And so he sort of got together a little unsanctioned team and asked me if I would coach it and work with them. And so we started, and oddly enough, in 2 years, the boys that we had playing never lost a match except one. and we lost that by 1 stroke. And then the girls team really started picking up. And then we finally had our Inman team this year, which we had a lot of success. The boys' only loss came at regionals by 2 strokes. And then Addie Mae won regionals and went to state and came in 5th.
Yeah.
And Miller McSwain came in 3rd at regionals, shooting a 75, which is pretty stout for a 12-year-old. And
Yeah, that's what I shoot the first 3 holes.
yes, a lot of people are like, did you quit at 9? And he's like, no, I played all 18.
Right.
But it's nice now to have a feeder program for the high school because, there's football, basketball, and baseball, and soccer, and volleyball now. They all had these middle school feeder programs to help them. So now it's nice that golf can sort of have that same privilege.
Well, and that was going to be one of my questions, and you can see there's some of the pictures, Greg. You can kind of tell us about that. Is that at regions there?
That is a state tournament. That was last Tuesday. The girl on the far right, she was the winner. She shot 77. And Addie Mae on the far left shot an 81. So she was only 4 strokes out of it, of winning. And she's a 7th grader.
As a 7th, I don't think I've ever shot an 81 in my life. And I used to play golf several times a week.
And that's really probably a bad day for her, really, isn't it?
Yeah, she tripled the first hole because she had a little trouble because they played it down in the rough and it was soaking wet, and she tried to play a shot and it got her in a bad situation. And then once she got out of it, she had only 2 other bad holes, but then she got on a roll, and then as she stayed on the roll, she just kept gaining ground on everybody. And when we finished up, we were like, man, you're going to actually be in really good shape. So, shooting an 81 and only losing by 4, she's got a lot to build on for next year. And then, my number 1 and 2 player this year were both 6th graders. And so we've got a lot to build on next year. So it's going to be a fun ride.
I was going to ask Coach Welp about that as well. And Coach, I'll let you introduce yourself in just a second, but it's one of those things where success breeds success. I mean, we see it, like I said, with Inman and county with the football program. One of the reasons that Henry County is so strong compared to these other places we play is because we have a great feeder program. So how excited are you now that golf is a sanctioned event, so to speak, at Inman, and they can go out there and use that to help get those kids ready to play when they get to the high school level?
One word, I'm giddy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting to have Greg down there leading them and to see the interest level. And the big thing has been just getting them started earlier. When I first started doing golf, we'd have so many kids that would come to tryouts as a freshman that never played before. And I would talk to the Clarksville schools that were so good, and I'd be like, what's going on? And they're like, these kids are starting at 4, 5, and 6 years old. And ours were trying to start at 13 and 14.
Right.
And so to see it going and, the fruition that they're having already is amazing, and it's exciting. And like I said, I'm giddy. I got coaches texting me all the time, you guys are about to be for real in a few years. I'm like, yep, hang on. I'm going to enjoy the ride for a few years.
That's right.
And to have Greg down there working with them is just a phenomenal asset for those kids. And I'm proud of them, and they work hard. And I see them at the range. I see them practicing, and they're good kids, and it's fun.
Coach, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background and upbringing, and what all you've been involved in to get to where you are now.
Sure. I grew up in Owensboro, Kentucky. I played baseball and basketball in high school at Davis County there. And I met a girl in college. She happened to be from Camden, Tennessee. I'm like, Camden, Tennessee? Where's that? And so I met her at Murray State through a friend of ours, and ended up moving down here after we dated for a little while, got married, and started out doing the baseball team here.
Right.
And I did that for probably 15 years. No, maybe it was like 10 or 12.
Okay.
Probably 12 years. And I guess probably 8 or 10 years ago, Mike Poteet, the old athletic director, called me up and said, hey, you want to do golf? I was like, golf? I'm embedded in baseball right now. And he was like, you better think about this one. And so did Renee, who was helping at the time. And they were like, you better think about this one. I was like, well, let me call you back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing it for about 8 or 10 years now, and it is fantastic. I love it.
Awesome. And so you're also, like, Greg, of course, I've known you for a long time just because my wife being in the same system and whatnot, but you're both, like you said, baseball guys too. So you coached Cade when his 8th grade year when he got recruited to steal bases for
Inman. Hey, listen, he was a walking triple right there. And if he got on base, he was going to be a third in about 4 pitches.
Yeah. But so you're a Cubs fan, and everybody that knows you knows that you're a diehard Cubs fan. Coach Welp over here is a Cardinals fan, and so
and we're friends.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that two guys can have such fundamental differences and still be buddies.
We love baseball more than the teams, but it's fun because I coached baseball at Henry County for 5 years. I think it was 4 with Coach Putman, and then Brian was hired, and I got to coach with him for a year. So we met 20 years ago, and we've stayed, close since, talking whether it's baseball or golf or fishing or anything like that. But the baseball was our common denominator. But you'd be surprised how many baseball players golf.
Yeah.
You see the Braves. They're the Hall of Fame pitching staff they have with Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. They're all amazing golfers. So it's an easier transition than people think.
See, and like I said, listen, I was never really good at golf. Like I said, me and my dad and my brother used to go every Sunday after church out to Puryear when they still had the golf course out there in Puryear. And then if during the week I was able to get away and go play, then I would. The best round of golf I ever played in my life wasn't a round. It was 9 holes at the Tennessean. I tell everybody the story because I'm so proud of it. But I shot a 40 on the back, a real 40, not, I lost my ball and I couldn't find it, so I just took a free drive. I took a legitimate 40 on the back 9 at the Tennessean.
See, that's great.
Yeah, Tennessean was tough.
It was a tough course. But now I couldn't hit a golf ball from here and get it through that door because I don't play anymore. You know what I mean? And it's just, like I said, it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it with golf. And
yeah, I've played a lot. I played more than your average golfer over the years because I worked at Miller Golf Course in Murray, so I could play for free for the longest time. So I'm pretty sure one year I turned in about 280 scores on my handicap. But I started playing with senior citizens. I started walking with them. Somebody told me one time, if you don't learn how to play golf, play with the senior citizens. So I would walk with them. They didn't hit it very far. They just hit it straight, and they can chip and putt. Well, for like 2 years, I was tired of losing, $2, $5 to these seniors. And then I got to where I kept playing. Well, then I moved from playing with them to the boys on the college golf team. So that was another 4 years of getting whipped like crazy. But it was fun because there's so much to learn. And golf is something you can do your rest of your life. I mean, I still get excited to go play at 54. I still think I could compete with young kids, and I can't, but I think I can.
Well, you were learning from the best, though, those older guys that know how to hit it down the middle, they get up and down, and I probably tell our kids too much at the high school. You guys need to go out and play with your granddads because they know how to score. And most of our kids want to try to hit driver off of every hole after tee shot, and instead of focusing on getting it in the middle and keeping it in play. And so there's a lot to learn from the older guys that can play.
That's what's going to be my next question was, like, what is your approach, Coach Welp, especially because, you mentioned that, back before you had a lot of kids who would be like, golf sounds like a fun sport to play. I'd like to learn how to play it. I'll go out for the high school team. And, 13, 14 years old, never swung a golf club. Like, what's your approach to coaching that and getting them competitive at least?
Well, I think the first step is to get with a good instructor that can work with them.
Okay.
And at an earlier age, the better. But most of them that are new, I tell them the importance of getting with an instructor that can work with them consistently, because even something as simple as the grip can really affect your swing. And so the basics would be the most important. And getting with a good instructor that they can rely on and trust and have a good rapport with. There was a time where Greg was giving lessons, and that's where I started my kid because I knew he could start them off right, and he had a good rapport with them. And that would be step one, is just getting with a good instructor and trying to get going right.
All right. How'd you, Greg? What do you, with yours? I mean,
I don't know. That's the same. Kids, Clarksville and Nashville kids have a massive advantage because they have so many programs for the kids to do. And in rural West Tennessee, there's not that many. So, like, all of our kids and a lot of the kids who are are the better, or not, I wouldn't say the better golfers, but the kids who play, they have the Sneds Tour, and there's the Mid-South Golf Series. There's all these things where there's no local league like, you know, at McNeil or Caps or Pop Warner football. So, you know, we had to drive our kids to Nashville or to Jackson or to Clarksville and all these places to play an event in the summertime. So having something like that, I think it was the group. It's been the group of kids that I first started giving lessons who are graduating college right now.
Okay.
And I did that for a long time and loved every bit of it, and got to work with some kids who played for Coach Welp, Eli Ridgway, who's a very good golfer, and I wish I could take credit for it, but he was just a good.
Sure.
He worked at it, and like I've stopped doing lessons for a few years because I wanted to watch my son play.
Sure.
And I'm getting to do that, but now that he's gotten older, I'm starting back doing that again because I want to help build his program.
Right.
But I also want to build
Yours,
mine
right, yeah.
at Inman. So I've got to start getting kids at the elementary level interested, so that way when they get to Inman, they're already competitive, not having to go through the strokes of, of learning. But it's, golf is every day can be a different day. You know that.
Sure. Well, and too, I was going to add something you mentioned just then. We ran into the same kind of deal with tennis when Kendall was playing. There's no local tennis clubs around here for kids to just go play tennis every day and swing the racket because, Coach Getty was always like, just get out and swing the racket. Just go hit some balls, just play. When you don't have anybody to go do that with, so to speak, it makes it tough. But, back when I got into golf, Tiger had just exploded. Mm-hmm. Who's that guy now that y'all's kids want to be the next whoever? Is there one?
Scotty's the guy right now.
Yeah, a lot of the parents would say we'd love for our kids to like Scotty Scheffler, but like my son loves Bryson DeChambeau because of his YouTube channel.
All right.
And his how to break 50, and he'll have some sports star on there with him, and they'll play from the red tees and try to break 50, and so they all love watching him. So, but I would say Scotty Scheffler and Morikawa and Schauffele, and there's a whole group of McIlroy.
Yeah.
The kids are, but women's golf is really exploding also with Nelly Korda. So the little girls like watching her, and it's golf is good right now because every course you go to on the weekend is packed.
Right.
I feel like COVID really did a thing for golf.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to get outside, do some stuff, and so golf kind of exploded. I started seeing numbers better. Kids were playing more, and it's been really good since.
It's funny you say that because I remember I've got a picture of it, as a matter of fact. Like 3 days into COVID, the kids were at home, they were bored, and so Case and I loaded up and went to the driving range. And I said, this is my kind of social distancing right here.
Yeah.
Because, you can get out, and we just went to the driving range and swung the club and hit some balls. And so I didn't think about that, a lot of folks probably got into it, and it picked up a little bit during that time. But
Ben was at Paris Landing today, and he said the place was packed.
yeah,
He hadn't seen that many cars in there unless it was a tournament of some sort. And so that's good. That's good, though, that, because it's good for Paris Landing. It's good for the park.
Sure.
And I know the country club has got a waiting list of people trying to get in there. So it's good. It's a year-round sport.
guys, we got to take a break. Hard to believe we're halfway through it already, but it moves quickly. And so we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back. We're going to learn some more details about these programs that these guys are in charge of right after this message from our sponsors.
Hey friends, Junior Staggs with Auctioneer University, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be one of the sponsors of a brand new show that's going to be produced by my friends at Bruce Street Mafia and Kel Media. It's called SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew. It'll be recorded live every Sunday night at 7:30. So if you're into sports, I like Alabama football. Maybe you're a Tennessee fan. Maybe you're into one of those foreign sports like soccer or cricket or rugby. I'm sure he'll cover it all, from local sports to professional sports and everything in between, every Sunday night, 7:30. While you're at it, go over there and give him a like. And if you're thinking about becoming an auctioneer, check out our website, Auctioneer U. That's auctioneer, the letter U.com.
In a world that moves way too fast, there's one place that feels like home. Tater's Place in Paris, Tennessee, where the sizzle of a smash burger meets the sound of laughter and every plate tells a story. Bring the family, make memories, and taste the love in every bite. Live music, real people, and unforgettable food. That's Tater's Place, 3615 Highway 79 North. Find the flavor you've been missing at Tater's Place. Come and feel what you've been hungry for.
Are you looking for a fence that gives you peace of mind? At All Star Fence Company, we don't just build fences, we build confidence. Whether it's keeping your family safe, protecting your property, or simply adding curb appeal, All Star delivers unmatched quality, dependable service, and lasting results. Locally owned and trusted across West Tennessee, Kentucky, and beyond, we're the name homeowners count on for reliability and strength since 1971. All Star Fence Company, your first line of defense and your best choice for peace of mind. Visit allstarfenceandsupply.com today.
Back here on SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew, got Coach Greg Lassiter and Coach Brian Welp from the Inman and Henry County golf programs. And so, guys, I said before we went to break, we're going to come back and talk a little bit specifics. Like, I didn't play golf in high school, so how is it set up? Like, the team structure, the games you play in, I guess they're golf matches and not games, obviously, but, you know, how does that work when you go or when somebody comes to Paris Landing for a golf tournament here, golf match here in the school setting? How does all that work? Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
So for the boys, they play top 5 kids, and then we take their top 4 scorers.
Okay.
So we have to determine before the match starts who's going to be your top 5. And so then we take the top 4 best scores out of those 5. So somebody can have a bad day, but the other 4 scores you take. And then girls is 3 and 2. So you can play 3 girls, and you take the 2 best scores.
Okay.
So you can still play some other players, like as kind of practice players, but their rounds won't. They won't count.
Their scores will get recorded as far as the golf match goes. And so
But the good thing is if you have a couple of those, and the ones who aren't counting, a couple of those kids have really good rounds, then you can say, hey, I want to give them the chance this time and put them in the top 5 in another match.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to have a little bit of a qualifier, you know, to see how things are going.
So, yeah, we try to rotate it a little bit, too, because your heartbeat's different whenever you know you're up there in the top 5 and the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's good for us to rotate them in and out and put them in different groups and stuff like that to push them a little bit. So, like, you can do some maneuvering to try to get their heart beating a little bit different.
So do they play in groups of 4, or is it head-to-head? How do they do it?
Because they walk, we try to keep them in groups of 3.
Okay.
Sometimes we have foursomes if it's a better player group, but for the most part, we try to keep it at threesomes. And then the ones that are new to it, we try to put them in twosomes if we can.
And so, again, just showing how ignorant I am to the whole process. So when you say a threesome, is it all Henry County will play together, or do they have to match up with a Clarksville kid and a Rossview kid or whoever is here for that match?
Right. For the integrity of scoring, you'd want to do that.
Okay.
So they have to exchange scorecards, preferably with somebody from another team.
Okay.
And so you would keep the other person's score, so that way you're not keeping your own scorecard.
And Coach, we talked about it before we came on air, and Kevin, I think we got a picture of the golf team from this year. You've got really good numbers for a golf team here. Yeah, there's the Henry County squad from this past year. But how many kids do you normally take or have on the team with you?
We try to go for 15, but as you can tell, that's a few more than 15. We had a few kids this year that kind of deemed practice players.
Okay.
But for the most part, we usually try to keep it around 15. That's what Paris Landon, who is our host course, prefers us to keep it at 15. But Keith Soller is really good to us out there and lets us keep 17, 18 if we got kids that are getting new to it and, you know, trying to figure it out. So I try to keep it around that 15 to 18 range.
Okay, and you've actually, before we came back from the break, you've actually got tryouts this week.
That's right, Friday at 1 o'clock at Paris Landon.
So if you want to be on the Henry County golf team, just show up. And I mean, they have to have a sports physical, I assume, because every sport has to have a sports physical completed.
Correct. We have a new program called Final Forms.
Right.
And if they can get that physical taken care of and get it uploaded to Final Forms, it's going to be so much easier on all of us moving forward.
But that'll be Friday at 1 o'clock out at Paris Landing. Anybody that's interested, come on out and give it your best shot, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Greg, what about y'all? Do y'all play the same format, or y'all teams are a little smaller? And
Well, I had 14 this year, which is not bad. We had 3 girls and 11 boys, so it was pretty good. It was a stiff competition with the boys. But it's the same. We play. They first put our team together, we could have gone into another district if we chose. We could have played with Jackson and Milan and schools like that. But we figure since the kids through the high school will play in Clarksville, then we might as well join that group. So it's sort of they get to see the same courses.
Talk about some of the success you have. Will you go back, Kevin, to that picture of Miller, please? Talked a little bit about the success that your young ones had.
So Miller is a sixth grader. He just turned 12 a few weeks ago. And for this season, the regular season, he actually had a scoring average of 35, which was one under par, which is pretty stout. Then they play some of the courses a little bit short because it's spring and the courses are wet. But at regionals, he shot a 75 and came in third, and he missed qualifying for state by one stroke.
Wow.
Two eighth graders shot a 72 and a 74. And he won medalists pretty much every match all year except for maybe one or two. So eat up with golf. He's constant. If he's not playing it, he's thinking it.
Yeah.
If he's not thinking it, he's practicing it. And then my number two was Andrew Steedley, a little lefty. And you know, talk about a grinder. This kid, you know, he can give the golf ball a look to make you want to go in the hole when he's mad. There was my boys that played in the regional tournament. Andrew's a little one on the left, shorter one on the left. He's a sixth grader. Then my son Noah, Drew Weatherly, and Miller and Brody Dooms. And they had a pretty stout showing. When I told them what won the boys' state, since we didn't make it there, they knew they could have come in close. We just had a bad day at the regionals. That's a little
4 at Paris Landing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's a little Caleb Wimberly. He's a sixth grader. He's going to be a big help next year. That's Addie Mae Glover.
Now, Addie Mae, she's gotten to do something that not many who aren't professionals have got to do, and that's step on Augusta.
Yes, she won the drive, chip, and putt a couple of years ago for this region and got to go to Augusta and compete, and she came in 5th in her age division.
Yeah.
And she's trying to go back again this year.
Sure.
And it's something to say though with the Henry County program, because I'm not originally from here, but golf has introduced me to people like Paul and Rob Hessing, who played collegiately, and I believe it was Rob who played. He Monday qualified for a St. Jude's.
Wow.
In Memphis, and then you have our new CEO at the hospital, Paula.
I was going to bring up Paula because, of course, you know, Paula and I graduated together, and Paula was the state champion in 95 and 96. I confirmed it with her. I knew she won back-to-back, but I don't mean this ugly. Don't take it the wrong way, Henry County. I love Henry County football, okay? I love it. I always thought it was a disservice to Paula that when you're driving in town, no matter where you come in, it says the state championship teams, and there is no mention anywhere around town of Paula being the state champion in back-to-back years in golf.
Yeah, because it's an individual sport, and golf is mental.
Yeah.
It's 90% mental. And I had her talk to us a few years back when Brian had a pretty good girls team, and we had her talk to them, and one of them asked her how often she practiced. And she said, the look on their face when she said, well, one summer, 2 days I didn't practice, one because it was lightning, and she said the other day I had too many blisters on my hand.
Yeah.
So the look on their face that someone dedicated that much time.
Right. Of course, went to Alabama and played there, which surprised a lot of folks because diehard Tennessee fans growing up.
Yeah.
I remember that her going to Alabama and playing golf. And
she's married to a Tennessee fan.
Yeah. So.
And then there was Andrew Steedley, or Adam Steedley.
Yeah.
He played at Union. And Ben Glover played at Austin Peay. So their kids are all coming up. So there's a lot of golf knowledge, going towards the high school program to help Brian with what he's got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already been leaning on Adam's son with the high school because I've got his son Harrison, and we lean on Adam quite a bit in some of our matches, some of the course knowledges he has around here, some of the local courses. And, it's exciting to see what's coming up because we got so many good parents that are coming up with them.
Right.
And so I'm going to lean on them. I've already leaned on Ben Glover some while I've been doing this. He's come out and done some clinics with them. You got Greg, of course, and Justin McMasters. We got his daughter. So we got several good parents that can play the game.
So how do they do that? Because, like, for instance, Henry County, I guess Paris Landing is our home course, right? So, like, when you go to Clarksville, does every Clarksville school play at Swan Lake, or is that?
Pretty much. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I think Clarksville Country Club may host one every once in a while, but.
So how do you find, like, with practices and all that, do they have a practice round before a match starts? Or if you're going to wherever, say, I don't know, if you're going somewhere in Nashville and they're like, okay, it's going to be played at this golf course, like, do you get a chance to go see that golf course first, or you just have to figure it out as you go?
Regular season, we usually do not go for a practice round. We just go and figure it out on the way.
Okay.
But in the postseason, we always go up for a practice round, try to stay the night if it's away, and get a practice round in the day before and make sure we get a look at the course.
Gotcha. Same way for y'all.
Yeah, we did that this year at Region. We went down and played Two Rivers, which is just the other side of Opryland.
Okay.
And getting on a Nashville municipal course, you had to make a tee time a week ahead. So the week ahead, I got up, and at 6:30, I started calling the course, and it took me 74 calls to get a tee time for the kids to go practice.
Wow.
So, but it was amazing. The kids learned a lot about that course, and then went out the next day, and Miller shot that 75,
Yeah.
and Eddie May shot 76.
Yeah.
So,
both of you guys obviously enjoy coaching, because which is harder to coach, baseball or golf?
I would say I feel like I'm more of a counselor with golf.
Okay.
I really do.
Because it's such a head game, is that
Yes,
why?
yeah.
You just,
if you played it before,
Yeah.
one or two bad shots, it can really snowball for you.
Sure.
So, like, you've got to be able to overcome that. And that's where these kids that are learning how to play at a younger age in these tournaments realize, hey, I just got to say bogey here.
Right.
If you ever play with Greg, it'd drive you crazy because he'll have a bad tee shot and you're like, I might get him here. And then he'll manage to figure out a way to save par. And you're like, what in the world?
Right.
well, in baseball, you have teammates who can help bail you out.
Sure.
Golf, even though you're on a team, it's still individual. So you don't want to be the one who has a bad round, or a lot of kids. The problem with and it's adults, the same. You're worried about what people are thinking about, when they watch you swing. Well, those people are not worried about how they're worried about their own.
Sure.
So everybody's, their kids get real nervous, and so the earlier we get them started and the more tournaments they play, then they're not nervous on the first tee.
Good.
Like they normally would be. So it's a lot of fun.
So kind of like, what's the setup? You were talking, there's a fly just
Yeah.
bugging Greg.
If it goes in the mouth, I can't help it. I'm sorry, Jeremy. But
No, it'll be fine.
It's buzzing his face.
It likes him over there. How does it work? Because, like you said, you've got these different groups playing at the same time, and I'm assuming y'all just have to get in a cart and kind of go from hole to hole to hole and see how everybody's doing and give what advice you can. And
Yeah, we're only allowed to talk to them between the green and the next tee box. We can't talk to them. We can't give them instruction during the hole. While
can't
they're
read
playing.
greens for them or anything like that. And then,
Nope.
so
And that makes it tough. So you really kind of buzz around and see if a kid's playing well, and if so, you let them roll with it. And if you got a kid that you can see that is kind of distraught or in a tough funk, you might wait till you can talk to them and try to pick them up. Say, hey, there's a lot of golf to play yet today. So the best thing I have found through the high school is that in these 18-hole matches, they can have a bad front nine and then recover on the back nine and still save their score. So we had that happen at regional this year. So a kid had tough front nine. Talked to her and said, hey, you just have a good round on the back, you can make up for it. And she did. Ended up in a state playoff. But there was a kind of break it down by 9 holes is what I seen with work.
how does it break down? I know how baseball and softball and all that qualifies for district and then place a certain place in district and move on to region. It's the same way in golf as far as how do you qualify for region,
Right.
so to speak.
So from district to region, the top 3 teams make it, and then the top 5 individuals outside of those teams.
Okay.
And then when you get to region, it's just the top team, and then the top 3 individuals outside of that top regional team.
So y'all qualified for regions this year.
Both, yeah.
So y'all got a really good program going because, it's no easy task to get past the district and get into region.
Right. There's some really good golfers in Clarksville and Dixon, and they're in our district this year. So our boys finished 3rd, our girls finished 3rd. And then we took both teams to region. Our girls actually finished region runner-ups this year. which was a really good feat for us.
Wow.
And so our girls program's building, the boys are building. We got some Inman kids coming up that are going to help, so it's exciting.
Fun times on the golf course, you know.
Well, I'm going to get him in a minute. Yeah, the same with Inman though. We're a spring sport, and both the boys and girls made it to region, and had one girl make it to state. So it's a lot. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Does Dixon play at Greystone or they play at Montgomery Bell?
Greystone.
That's a tough course too. Like that's a very tough course. We lived in Dixon. I played it a couple times, and a lot of folks from Nashville come down and play Greystone. I was in there one day, and Vince Gill was in the clubhouse just hanging out, and so.
This is a couple of years ago. We were there playing, and Luke Combs was a couple of holes in front of us.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I always try to get our kids on it the last week of the season because it's a good feeder going into the tournament.
Yeah,
and playing a nice course like that.
Get a good tough, because like it's so mental and individual. Like you have to. If you lose your focus, you can get it back. But like you said, once that snowball starts, it takes a lot of mental toughness just to calm down and breathe and go back to what works right. You know what I mean? Because like a golf swing is to me it seems so finicky that if you have one little hitch in it, sometimes that can just be it just throws you off. And
yeah, sometimes it's compared to like dancing. Once you get a good rhythm going, it's I've watched enough golf swings that you can tell when a kid's getting quick, or they're sliding their hips, or their head's moving. But when they have it just right, man, it's a thing of beauty watching the look on their face. Sure. As soon as the ball leaves the club, they feel it, like through their arms and everything, and there's a smile, or their eyes light up.
I was going to ask, how many times have y'all seen it to where, because golf is one of those sports where you can go and you can play 17 holes of just really bad golf, and then that you tee off on 18 and you hit it in the woods, and you finally find your ball, and then you make that one swing and put it 4 feet from the cup, and you're like, I'm going to come back tomorrow and do this again.
4 hours of misery and 2 minutes of glory bring you back.
It's that one shot. Once you hit that one shot well, you're like, I got to do that again.
Right.
And I think the big thing too for any golfer really is there's a quote that's the most important shot is the next shot. Mm-hmm. And so that's the mindset that you got to do too. And it helps whenever these kids practice like they do. So Miller and Addie May, they don't just have 75, 76 out of nowhere.
Right.
They put the time into it to where they know their adjustments when they're out on the course by themselves and they hit a bad shot. They know the adjustment they need to make because they put in the time.
How does that practice work? Do y'all practice together as a team throughout the week, or is it do they just go out to the park and practice when they have? How does that work as far as your team practices?
For us, like I like to have when I have our practices, it's usually more short game, chipping and putting, because most of these kids have their own swing coach.
Okay.
So when we have a practice, they're doing what their swing coach told them. But like the short game and stuff like that is where I see more strokes lost in tournaments because, for example, and I hate to throw my son under the bus, but at Greystone, this year, he had shot a 41, but he had 21 putts.
Yeah.
And he was like, when he was finished, he was like, man, over half my strokes was putts. He's like, if I could even putt, he goes, that's like a 37.
Right.
And I was like, well, congratulations, you figured that part out. Now you know what you need to practice on. And so most of the kids, it's practice is, sometimes the kids are in such a good groove, you just let them go play 9 holes.
Okay.
And I've noticed, too, that that's the last thing that comes for these players. So, like as freshmen, I have to always build up not just the kids but the parents, too. Mm-hmm. And that the short game usually comes. They'll start eliminating those 3 and 4 putts.
Right.
And next thing you know, you start scoring. And so, again, to get out in front of it like our middle school kids are doing right now, it's phenomenal.
Awesome. So it may seem like another dumb question, but I think people generally don't know. Like if, say, Henry County was playing a golf match tomorrow out at the lake, could I just go out there and watch them play golf? How does it work with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a spectator cart, come out there and watch them anytime.
Okay.
Or you can walk along and you can listen to the kids talk and what they're thinking while they play. I mean, you're outside in sunlight and anybody can come watch. Usually it's just parents
or
grandparents, but the more the merrier is the way I see it.
I probably shouldn't throw Steve Summers under the bus, but he looks for occasional matches to come out to and drive around with me, especially those nice sunny 75-degree days.
Hey, listen, he's got his little golf cart out there at the baseball games that he rides around on all the time. So, I mean, I like Steve a lot. He knows how to ride a golf cart, that's for sure. And so he can get around for sure. But I just didn't know if it was something that, like, if y'all see a lot of folks, or if it, like I said, it was just mainly parents and grandparents and stuff like that, or if you do have folks who come out like, hey, they're playing today, I'd like to go watch the Henry County golf team and see what they've got going on, because obviously they're doing really well.
Right. We try to each year have one regular season match at our country club.
Okay.
And it's usually a pretty cool deal because a lot of the members want to come out and watch the kids play. You got the back deck there that they can watch them. And the country club is always accommodative to us and letting us host at least one. They'd probably do more if I asked them. But for the most part, we play at Paris Landing. But, yeah, mainly it's the parents, grandparents. But occasionally, like a situation like that, we'll have some others come out as well.
Okay.
And Paris Landing, I mean, they're home to 3 high school golf teams, not just Henry County. They also accommodate Stewart and Houston. So there's always a match going on in the fall, if you really like to watch golf. And then this summer – it's been about 3 or 4 years they've been having the Todd Latta.
I was going to ask about that a minute ago.
Junior League, and that brings out a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Brian has his high school team playing it, and then there's all these juniors that play. But then over the last few years, there's been kids from Stewart County, Jackson, McKenzie coming to play, and then they have about 4 matches at the country club during the summertime.
Yeah. Somebody had told me one time, too, and y'all could probably answer this, but – as you said, girls golf is growing, but somebody told me one time that, like, they can't give away enough girls golf scholarships at the end of the year. Because we try to get Kenna maybe a little bit interested into golf, and like she picked tennis instead, but that there's opportunity after opportunity after opportunity out there if you wanted to get involved in it. Is that y'all's experience with
Bethel called me like 2 or 3 years ago and asked if we had anybody that could break 90.
Yeah.
If that tells you anything. And you don't have to do a whole lot in golf to break 90.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that there's just limited amounts, but if a girl's competitive and she can get that score down into the low 80s, she's got a chance to play. We had Sydney Williams go off the Rhodes a few years ago, and she was consistently in the low 80s as a senior, and she did well at Rhodes. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities there.
Good.
Yeah, Murray State's Hall of Fame coach Velvet Milkman, she played at Alabama, just like Paula, but she coached Murray State's girls from the beginning of their existence till just a couple years ago. And she told me once that on average there's over 500 full rides in the United States for girls golf that go unused.
Yeah.
And like they recruit a lot in Europe,
right,
in Asia and South Africa to get girls who can shoot in the low 70s, because there's not that many that at the time that were doing it around this area for them to recruit.
Sure.
So.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming by. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I hope y'all had a good time as well talking about it, and can come back in your seasons and let us know what's going on with your programs. Like I said, Brian, I know y'all have a fall season, and Greg, y'all's is in the spring, but I'd love to have you guys get back on here in the middle of your seasons and give us an update on how it's going, and appreciate what you guys do. Again, coaching is one of those deals where it takes somebody special to do it, and so I appreciate you guys and your willingness to teach the youth and work with them, and I know these parents do as well, and the kids do, and just appreciate what you're doing for Inman and for Henry County, because we need more guys like y'all to do it.
Well, I'll add, too, that this is a community that does more than just 1 or 2 sports.
Sure.
Like I was thinking about that earlier today, that we've got so many businesses around here that are willing to help.
Right.
And not just with 1 or 2 sports. I'm sure Greg's the same way when he was trying to raise money for Inman. I can count on one hand the number of times I've made a call to a local business to help our program, and they've said no.
Right.
So most of them, we couldn't do a lot of the stuff that we do without the businesses. And, the Country Club and Security Bank host a big tournament for us every summer. And all the people that are there, typically business owners and stuff that play in the scramble, they give back their money, they donate it, and it's a big fundraiser for us. So this is a community that buys into all of our sports, and golf's one of them.
Yeah, especially for the first year program. I was worried about what we would have going on, and Jamie Tosh with Tosh Farms, he's like, let's buy the team some golf bags.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's awesome.
Sure.
I mean, you didn't have to ask.
Yeah, Jeff Berryhill did the same thing for us just a couple of years ago.
Just out of the and like you said, you run into that with everything. You know what I mean? Like Henry County, I tell kids all the time, and whether or not they want to listen to me, I don't know, but you won't find that other places. You know what I mean? Like you won't find that in the bigger cities. Henry County is a special place, and I'm appreciative of that as well. And
yeah, Renee used to talk about it all the time, how the community was so good to help her with everything, and she was spot on.
Yeah. Well, again, guys, I appreciate it very much. Thank you all for coming on. Look forward to seeing how your season goes. Enjoy your summer. I know teachers enjoy that summer break, but it seems like it gets shorter and shorter every year. But anyway, I know y'all be out on the golf course teaching and all that, and so appreciate it. And thank y'all for coming on. I want to remind you that next week we will be a little bit different. We're not going to have a live show next week. Going to be a pre-recorded show that it'll air at the regular time of 7:30 next Sunday night. But it's a one-on-one conversation I got to have earlier this month with Caden Marshall. And so Caden headed to Bowling Green to play some football up there. And so Caden and I got together and recorded a show, and it'll be next Sunday night, May 25th at 7:30. So until then, again, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, auctioneeru.com, Taters, All-Star Fencing, Patriot Plumbing, and Shelter Insurance. Thank you to Kevin Keel back in the back and Keel Media for keeping us on the air and bringing you SportsCast again this week. Thanks to Mike Weatherford and the Mike Weatherford Show for letting us use their set again this week. Always appreciate that. Tune in next Sunday night at 7:30. Talk to Caden Marshall. Until then, take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.